Well, kia ora everyone. Welcome to Feature Focus number 2. Hopefully we don't keep numbering them because we might lose track of them all. But it's my absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to introduce Tyron. G'day, mate.
Hey, Jason. Thanks for the introduction. Great to be here.
Yeah, cool. So Tyron is our new graphic designer on staff here. He used to be a Rocketspark partner. Got a bit of experience, knows what he's up to. And keen to crack into what we're going to talk about today. So today we are talking about sort of the next level kind of designy bits that you can do with stack backgrounds and column backgrounds. Tyron's got some cool things that he's been working on. He's going to show off some different design techniques that you can do to be able to stitch some stuff together. But before we get into it, I asked him a question before we started recording. I'm going to ask him that same question, hopefully he gives me the same answer. But my question to him was, as a designer, do you prefer designing a full scope first, like a full page first, so that you can kind of implement these bits and pieces, or do you go sort of stack by stack? What was your answer?
The preference is to design the whole page first itself. The ideal situation is to actually design the whole website and in Figma or whatever design program you're using. It's really good to see not only the whole page, but how the whole website, each page works together. You want consistency within each page. You want consistency across all your pages. Just design the whole thing. You can see what content you've got, what content you're missing, and also designing the whole page. You can give that to your client first before you actually start building, and you can start that can be like the first stage of like weeding out any, design faults you might have. So it'll save you time in the build later on.
True. The only caveat to that, team, is just to make sure that whatever you are concepting out as a full scope concept is that it's actually achievable on Rocketspark.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So if you have got any questions around that sort of stuff, you've designed a cool mock-up and you're going, hey, is that possible? Flick it through to us. Happy to have a look. Happy to give you some advice on how to achieve that. But hopefully today's session will be useful in giving you some ideas about what sort of full sort of scoping you can do. So nice to see a few more friendly faces in there. So we'll crack into it. So what I'll do is I'm just going to swap screens. So we're going to check out Tyron's screen there.
Cool.
All right, dude, take it away.
All right, so the first feature we're going to look at today is just working on stack backgrounds. So how we can achieve a more custom look with our stack backgrounds here by just adding some really like basic graphics to, just to break away from just the standard template.
Yeah, and so what you've got here is just a bog standard template.
This is our architecture template straight off the Rocketspark website, straight out of the box at the moment.
Awesome.
We've done nothing to it at the moment. So today we're looking at these 3 stacks here. I don't know if you can see my mouse.
Yep, we're looking
it's actually
good.
4 stacks here actually. So the white one, this black middle section, and this white section at the top. So we're looking at changing this area here. So I've already created what we want to achieve. So we're going to recreate this look here today. So as you can see, we've added in some angles and some shapes along the bottom, and it just helps take the standard template look out and just add some really good customization in quite a simple way.
That's right, and visually interesting. You don't want the same background on every page. Just something to break up those content sections.
Yeah, that's right. So should we get stuck into actually building it?
Sure, man. Show us the magic.
Right. So I've just got another blank page here, so we can chop and change between the original example and the fully edited example, and then this is the one that we're actually working on. So at Rocketspark we use a program called Figma, and Figma's our program that we use to do all of our website mock-ups, and it's a really quick visual tool. I suppose it's a bit like Illustrator in a way, where it's a vector-based program and it's super simple to drag images in, create all your vectors you need to do, and it's awesome for any kind of website mockups.
Sure. And before you carry on, so Figma digital design tool, in your Livestorm chat thing, there's a little emojis button. Can I just get thumbs up from those of you who would consider themselves a print first designer? Because if you're a print first designer, I think there's a way that you can take these learnings and apply them to, say, InDesign, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
Being comfortable and familiar with a design tool, I think, is really important. And yes, we use Figma here. Some other designers use XD, which is part of the Adobe suite. But for yourself as a designer, just be comfortable in whatever you're using and understand your parameters. Because obviously, the files that we output from Figma are generally PNGs.
You can choose. There's a few different file types you can choose from, but the standard file types you can choose: JPEG, PNG. You can even do PDF as well. So
sure.
There's a few bog standard file types that you can just export straight away. So it's pretty useful. But yeah, if you don't use Figma, have never heard of it, like Jason said before, XD out of the Adobe suite is something that's very similar and it achieves very similar results.
Very cool. Awesome, dude. I'll leave you to it.
Okay, so as we talked about just previously, we wanted to create this stack background look from the standard template. Now, as you can see here on my Figma screen, I have literally mocked up the two white stacks that I want edited. And then in here...
So you've had to have a bit of a think about the stack sort of order in which you're going to do these graphics.
Going to looking at these stacks, I thought, there's quite a cool opportunity here to add some features to the above and the below stack of this black middle section. So in doing that, I've created a bit of a mock-up here of the shapes that I wanted to use in Figma. So just pretend this box here that I'm drawing is actually that middle section on the website that's already got the content, and now we want to add this stack background to the top and this stack background to the bottom.
Cool.
To create this overall look. So you can see straight away using a program to mock up stuff is just a really good way to visually see what you're doing before you actually go in and build it.
And it helps you figure out your stack system, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Cool.
So I've already outputted these images. So what we'll do is we'll jump into the template. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the stack. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlink the stack. I find this just a really useful thing to get into. There is a time and a place for linked stacks, but it can be detrimental if you're editing a stack and it's editing multiple stacks elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's just really it's really good to be mindful of this feature.
Cool. There you go, folks. A top tip: watch out for those linked stacks.
So yeah, we just want to unlink that. Right, so now here, this is where we add our stack background. So I'm going to add an image, and I'm going to choose a picture. And I'm going to go to my desktop.
And it's all nicely ordered with good folders and good folder hierarchies.
And good naming as well. So it's important to name your files as well, because when you end up with a lot of files, you can get lost yourself into what is what. Even old files, you want to, if you're not using them, dump them in a previous folder or delete them altogether. It's good to know what exactly you're using.
That's right. Nice and efficient, eh?
That's right. Okay, so you can see we've added the stack background here, and it's only just affected this little corner here at the moment. So what we want to do is we want to change the position of the stack background. So at the moment it's set to the middle. So if you can imagine that whole big white image with the black is sitting halfway between this stack here. That's right, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, that's right.
So we want to set that to the bottom so our background image is in line with the top of the bottom stack, if that makes any sense.
That's right. And when we get to stitching the third stack in this series, you'll see a different way of positioning it in the system.
That's right.
That's right.
So what we'll do is we'll leave that as how it is for the meantime, and we can adjust the spacing afterwards.
Just to make it all match.
So same thing again. Let's unlink the stack design. We're going to add the triangle base stack background here. So again, go onto stack backgrounds, select image, select choose picture, something I prepared earlier. I've even named it background 2 triangles.
Nice.
And again, you'll notice that you can't see it because the way it's positioned is actually in the middle of this line. So we want to set this time, instead of the bottom, we want to set it to the top.
And just a little pro tip, if you're not sure if the image is loaded in correctly, you actually see a preview in the image box on the very left-hand side.
Yeah, that's right. So you can see just here, if you can see it, there's some tiny little triangles here that represents our image here, which is this main image here.
That's right. So set the vertical position to top, match it up, and away we go.
So straight away, just with dumping those 2 images in, we've almost achieved the look. So now it's just a matter of doing just a little bit of spacing to if you're not quite happy with it. So I might just want to bring this image and this text just a little bit closer to this section here.
Yeah, sure. So how would you go about that?
Well, we jump on this little color wheel icon here.
The old edit design button. I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar with that old color wheel.
Yeah, that's right. We've got width and spacing, and there's a few different adjustments you can use. So you've got top and bottom here, which is like very kind of generic. That moves the top and bottom evenly and equally.
Yeah.
And then what you've got here is you can get more specific spacing options at the bottom.
That's right. And as designers, that's a really important thing for you guys. It's not just having to stick within the bounds. You've got a bit more opportunity to maneuver.
That's right.
Specifically.
And so you can see this adjustment is not what we want, because that's actually breaking our stack background apart, and that's defeating the purpose of what we want to achieve. So we want internal spacing. So you can see you can bring that line up a bit close to the button, and it comes in underneath that image just a bit nicer.
That's cool. And that's what we love on Rocketspark, is that visual kind of editing, which is really cool.
Yep.
My only other question is what does it look like on mobile?
Great question, Jason. Just wait for that little load bar.
Yeah, and as you guys know, we're working on slowly retiring that wonderful load bar. So it looks pretty good on mobile, doesn't it?
Yeah, we could do with a slight adjustment here on mobile. We could add a little bit more spacing here just to give each section a little bit more breathing room. But it's pretty good straight away.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate. Like it's not a million miles away from being pretty polished straight away.
That's right. So say we did want to adjust a little bit of that spacing, just for arguments and demonstration's sake. How would we go about that?
Yeah, sure. So let's jump in here, so we'll edit this stack here.
Mm-hmm.
We'll jump into the color wheel again. Again, we want width and spacing, and then over to the left, you'll see desktop and mobile. So we've been editing the desktop, so now we want to head along to mobile. It takes you down to the section that you're trying to edit.
Perfect.
And now you can adjust your spacing just with those simple spacing controls.
Awesome.
So we can give that a bit more breathing room, and it just, it just defines each section a bit better. It doesn't look like it's all kind of one section. So really simple, really easy.
That's awesome. And so that's our stack background demo. I know it's probably something that you guys have been playing with already, but I think it's nice just to have it confirmed. Yeah, man, cool. Are you happy to crack into the column background?
Yeah, for sure. So again, just using the same template, just on the About Us page on the template. Again, this is the architecture website. This stack here, I thought that we could try and do something maybe a little bit more creative with the stack, and introducing a background image and a column background. So we've kind of got the illusion of layering on our website. So something I've created earlier, which is using the same content from this stack and creating this stack instead. So this is just a stock image that I found. This is just a stock image that I found online. I don't always recommend using stock images, but for the purpose of this task, just found an architecture image, and what we want to do is create a PNG image column background that sits over the top of our background image, and our text and our button sits nicely on top of it. This one, these do take a little bit more playing around with and getting the adjustments right. And just bear in mind when you do column backgrounds that they sometimes, depending on the shapes you're using and the backgrounds you're using, just for different size screens, they crop differently on the edge of your screen. So so that's just something to bear in mind. So a shape like this is a little bit difficult to work with, but you'll see as I get into it what I'm talking about.
And what I find fascinating, Tyron, is normally I tell designers that we have 3 layers to play with, but with this little system here, you've actually got 4 layers to play with.
That's right.
So you've created the stack background, column picture background, and then the blocks that sit on top. So I'm curious to see how he made it. So without further ado, gang, we'll let him crack into it. Awesome, dude.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this stack just directly above, so it's in between these 2 stacks, and we can see the build process. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add another stack. Let's go for a blank, and it's a 3. I used a 3 column stack on this one. Cool. So you can see my blow example. We've got 3 blocks here and we've got 3 blocks here. These ones are obviously spaced a lot differently, but we'll get to that soon. So the first thing we can do is we can there's many ways you can start, but I'm going to start with adding the background image.
Nice. Drake says we're starting from the bottom.
So an image I've prepared earlier. We'll just let that load in. Cool. Now you can see it's what I might do is
You're just going to shift it away.
I might shift it above,
Just help with the visuals.
Yeah.
Some of you might not be on the biggest screens in the world.
So I'll just shift that above so we're not getting a bit of a double up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some spacing to this. So I'm just going to add a lot of top and bottom spacing.
And one of the things that we learned in the last feature focus, everyone, if you remember, is that those numbers in the boxes, you can actually manually type into those and give it a value. So when you've run out of slider space, you can go higher. So we max out at 200, But if you can type into the bar any number above that.
Cool.
Which is, fun little pro tip from me to you.
Cool. So we want to add this PNG. This is the main feature here. So we want to add this PNG column background here. So we create the same effect. So you can see here. So we want to add a block. We want to add a picture. No, we actually don't want to do this.
Adding a column picture background.
See, that's where you can get caught out.
That's right. That's why we're here. Yep, into the settings.
So yeah, it's called a column background for a reason, because we go into our column settings here.
That's right.
And we've got 3 columns, so we want to edit the column on the far left here.
And what's quite handy is that it also shows you which column you're dealing with that blue outline.
That's
so
right.
if you click on the second column, it'll change it to that second blue column,
Yep.
and then the third, so on and so forth. But we're going for column number 1.
Yep. We want to choose our background picture. So I have already created my background image. I'm going to open that. And it should load in.
There you go. It's
Cool.
just real thin.
So we've just got a real thin line here. So that's obviously not ideal at the moment. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to adjust some spacing so we can actually see what we've got going on here.
So you've just gone full content width.
So I've just gone full content width here because what I want is I want the feature of the image out to the right here, and I want our text out to the left here, sitting on this kind of what I call negative space above this tree here.
Sure.
So I'm going to adjust a bit of left and right internal column spacing, and I'm going to adjust some bit of top and bottom, and now you can really see that it's starting to come in now.
Yeah, nice.
Now, I did mention it does take a little bit of playing around with, so I do have I've got some pre-set measurements here that oh, there we go.
Yeah, so sometimes, gang, and you may have noticed, is that sometimes when you're adjusting it in the preview and then you let it go, it'll go smaller. Trust the gut with the first preview picture. It's something that we're working on at the moment to just make sure that you get a better experience with it.
Yeah.
But it will show up as it has for Tyron.
Yeah, which is great. So yeah, you can see, we're getting pretty close now. So this is what we're trying to achieve, and this is where we're at the moment.
Very cool.
Cool. So what we want to do now is we want to add some text. So I'm literally just going to copy this text from this bottom stack.
I don't mean to interrupt, but you could also, if you've already got the content on the page, you could also drag it into that spot too.
That's right. You could do that. Let's assume that we don't have our content.
Let's assume.
And we're putting it straight in.
That's right. Tyron's the captain of this ship. You carry on. Oh, g'day, Helen. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up.
Cool. So we've got our heading added in already, and we want to copy our body text from this paragraph. We'll go back into the editing. We'll paste that in. We'll go OK. Now you can see that I'm starting to add some text here, and it's making my stack and my PNG image go a little bit AWOL now. So again, it's about going back into the adjustments and just playing around with the spacing and until you get it right. So it does take a little bit of playing around with and a little bit of experimenting. And but the brilliant thing about doing this is you learn a lot about the features as you go along the way. So I've still got a little bit of trimming here on the top and bottom of my PNG. I know that because I created the image, but someone who was looking at it the first time might not actually know that. But we'll try and get it right. We'll try and get it right for the sake of this. So and we need to add our button in as well. So And what does our button say? Our projects.
Our projects.
Cool, we'll just link it straight to the home page for now. Cool, well, there you go. Adding that button in has increased that spacing straight away, and we've got our full PNG back in there. So if we go to preview mode, it all looks nice and crisp.
That's really cool. And just remember, team, make sure that you're checking this on different screen sizes. So you can do it manually by just adjusting the width on your browser and different step widths, but also if you're one of those lucky few that have got other computers lying around, it's a good place to check those too. Yep. So what does this look like on mobile now, dude?
So again, this one will take a bit more adjusting for mobile, and yeah, and you just have to remember as well, everyone's going to view this on different size computer screens and different size mobile. So it's not going to be perfect for everyone, but if you can find that really good balance that is kind of the happy medium for everyone, I think that's going to be a good result. So if we jump back into the editor, well, let's just look at it in the preview first. So you can see in the preview at the moment that we've still got our stack background image in there. So probably a good first thing to do for mobile is actually get rid of the stack background image straight away, because it's not actually adding that much value to the stack. It's just a bit of greenery at the top of the bottom, and it just looks a little bit confusing. So, and that's the example that I built earlier. So you can see. Again, it's not perfect. But you can see these little grey, custom shapes here at the top and bottom, which represent our column background PNG. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it still gives a sense that it's something different.
Yeah, so it works in that context, doesn't it? And I think too, like the graphic styles of it makes it, work as well. Just, they have those little slivers.
Yep.
While we're here, do you want to show everyone how to turn off the stack background?
Yeah, for sure. So
one of these handy little tick boxes in a place where you might not know. So yeah. I always find it useful to know where these little things are.
For sure. So we go onto the stack we want to edit, hit the little colour wheel, go into stack background, and you've got this little checkbox down here, and it says hide picture on mobile, and we want to do that. So we save that change.
Wait for our wonderful green bar. And just again, remember we're swapping those out for the new notification style. So you'll see more of those in the near future.
We'll jump back on preview. We'll go back to mobile mode. And you can see that our green has disappeared from the top and bottom. Now this still needs a bit of adjustment, but this is the one that I did earlier, and you can see how you can adjust it.
Yeah, cool. So is that just the internal column spacing?
Yeah.
The top and the bottom?
Yeah. Have a quick go at it now. Let's go back into here. Width and spacing. Let's go into mobile. Yeah.
So that's kind of the feature focus that we wanted to talk about, stack backgrounds and column backgrounds. I hope it gives you a bit of an idea of kind of the cool things that you can do in that space and some of the more creative solutions that you can come to create some really cool looks. And back to Tyron's kind of first comment around full site scoping. Designing, an InDesign or XD or Figma or whatever you're going to use, just to kind of see what the flow of the site is going to be. One of the other tools that I think is really useful, especially from an inspiration perspective, is the Go Full Screen, which is Go Full Page, which is a Chrome add-on. So if you find a website that you like, you can capture the whole thing in one shot using the Go Full Page Chrome add-on. And it's a great way to see how sites that you like have laid out how they do their sort of content flows and design elements.
Yeah, so, it's a really good way to learn about your own design, on what you think is going to work, what's missing, what needs to be added. It's just a really good self-check system. Yeah.
That's right. So yeah. So other than that, were you happy? Did you want to add anything else?
No, I think that was everything for today.
Cool.